I got a cat on me. Hello everybody, I'm back again making my videos about emetophobia. If this is your first video watching, I'm doing a series where I hope by the end of it I will get rid of my phobia, which is the fear of getting sick out of your mouth. You can check out my other videos if you want more information, but these are basically videos, uncensored, me just sharing information about my life and my phobia, and then I do certain trials and tribulations that I hope will eventually lessen the burden that it has on me. So far I've done one experiment, but I hope to do a little bit more in the future. But today our video is going to talk about my post-high school life. So I had a video before where I would talk about K through 12 when I was dealing with my phobia at a time of my age where I didn't exactly recognize that I had a phobia and exactly what to do about it. And then once I started getting to high school, I started recognizing my own fears, my own phobias, and I started, addressing it to people, letting people know exactly what was going on. But to be quite honest, I never did anything about it. I was under the impression after high school that I would be stuck with this phobia for the rest of my life. And I still think that this has such an impact on me in my childhood that I will never be free of it. But I was under the impression that it wouldn't get better from here, that I would be stuck thinking every single day that someone was going to get sick. Every person who coughs or puts their head down or says, I don't feel good, I have to be wary of them and 24/7 vigilantly looking over my shoulder, checking on them all the time. This paranoia that every time I would live with someone or be with somebody, I have to be in fear that this act is going to happen. Can I ever have a relationship? I don't know. Can I handle living with somebody who might get sick at any moment? Can I handle having kids who might get sick at any moment? I don't think so. So that was my mentality going into college. But college, I had a change of mind and a change of heart. My goal was I was going to hopefully get some help by seeing a therapist. And I knew that my tuition paid for my therapy, so I was like, hey, might as well take advantage of it. So I was going to do that, and I was going to get out of my comfort zone, experience things that I've never been able to experience before, mostly because of my phobia. And the first thing that's very evident is that I stayed in dorm housing. So I lived right next to campus with a whole bunch of other college students who not only spread germs by living together, but they also drink a lot. And you know what happens when you drink too much? It's bound to happen. So let's just say that was the hardest experience for me. It was just being in that environment, knowing that things could happen, seeing things as it happened, and it was just traumatizing. It was not fun. I mean, I did, overall the experience was enlightening and I did enjoy my time being in the dorms, but would I do it again? Heck no. Heck no. And the hardest part is actually not just the environment that I was in, but it was the roommates. So I lived with my sister, and then I lived with someone who I came up with for college, because I didn't stay in my state, or I didn't stay in my area. I went to a different school. And then one of my friends from high school actually was my roommate, so at least I knew these people. I knew who they were, and they knew my phobia. So I was like, okay, I could work with this. But when you're in college, you want to experience the parties. You want to go out of the town and party and have fun and drink a little bit. And every time they would go out, I would have this fear of, oh my God, they're going to get sick when they get home, they're going to be drunk, they're going to get sick, and I have to help them clean it or it's going to be there on the floor. It was just this overwhelming panic that I would have to deal with. So usually, because in the dorm room you don't have your own space, you share the space with 2 to 3 to 4 roommates. So I was in my bunk bed, I was on the top because this is my thinking that if anyone's going to get sick, I want them to be on the bottom bunk. 1, so if I'm on the bottom, they don't get sick over me. 2, they can quickly get to the bathroom faster. So I'm like, anyone can take the the bottom bed. I'll take the top always. So I would be on my top bed. I would put in my headphones and listen to very loud music. Usually Linkin Park was my song, so I would listen to loud Linkin Park so I couldn't hear anything, and I would just close my eyes and tremble and hopefully fall asleep before they get here so that I'm not up all night thinking about what they're going to do while they're here. I can get to bed before any of that stimulus is brought into this situation. So I would wear my headphones and I would just cover. I would try to calm myself, but I couldn't. Try to think of anything else, but I couldn't. So I would just listen loudly to the music, sing along, cry, heart pounding, body trembling, head hurting, but just try to fall asleep. And that's what I did every single time. Even to this day, sometimes if we have parties at our house and I think someone's going to get sick or something like that, I still just put on my headphones really loud and calm myself down and go to sleep. There was one thing that did help. So if you saw my video about me going to therapy, I actually did commit and start going to therapy during college. And that really helped me out. It helped me to not only control my phobia, but to start being aware and controlling my own anxiety. So I think that's one of the contributors to why I did so well in college and how I was able to survive all of this. So if you want to check out that video, just go to my past videos. It's me talking about the best advice I'll ever give you for having anxiety or a phobia. But I started, eventually branching out. So I wanted to make many friends. I started doing clubs. I started getting involved as much as I can. I eventually became the president of a community service organization. So I did eventually start branching out and, doing more. Not letting my phobia keep me trapped into the room, not be able to do any of these things. And as an adult, I now express my phobia to people. And usually they make a joke about it, they think it's funny. Sometimes people do things to me and, bring up that stimulus, play songs that have it in there, or say these things or pretend to do it. That's not funny. But normally they would just, I'd call it the forbidden. The forbidden, so it was fun. But by telling so many people, they were always aware of it, and they were always aware of it for me, thankfully. Just like with my sister when I was growing up, if it happened, they would look at me or try to shush me away or get me away. They would, if someone said the word in front of me, like, "Oh, Torie, I'm sorry I didn't mean to," and I'd be like, "That's okay," Or they would talk about it, and then they forget that it's my phobia and I look really uncomfortable. They would say, "Oh, I'm sorry." That's fine, It's a normal topic for most people. Just for me, it bothers me. But there were a couple times when I had to deal with it directly or indirectly, mostly. I did go into a college bathroom once. Like, I had to use the bathroom before my, I think it was my core humanities class, so like reading, kind of literature class. And I went to the bathroom and the stall was full of it. It was pretty gross. I just quickly walked away, didn't use the bathroom anymore, and I just left. I could not deal with that. But I breathed. I started doing my breathing exercise, and I just, I had a tiny mental breakdown where I was just twitching and it in my mind. But other than that, I continued on. There'd be times in my big lecture halls. That's probably the scariest thing. It's just 200 people I have to now worry about in school getting sick. I'm surrounded by them. I'm in the middle of this lecture hall. They can't get out. Anything could happen. I remember sometimes, one time I was doing a test, and some girl just, ran out of the test. And I was like, oh my god, she's getting sick. Oh my goodness. But I had to concentrate on the test, of course, because I didn't want to fail. But it was definitely distracting me a lot. And things like that always, when people get up to use the bathroom, or get up and then leave and then get up again. And I'm like, why? Just leave, person. Don't come back. And then after the dorm situation, which besides freaking out every time my roommates got sick, I would also not give them like rides, like carpool rides or anything. If they went to parties, I never went. I never went to any college parties my freshman year, or really even up until like my junior year. And they weren't even the college parties I went to. They were like friends I all knew, so I don't really consider it. But yeah, I would never go to any parties. And then I want to say that my phobia limited to me, but did I really want to go to those parties? Probably not. So. But as I started going to actual college parties later on, like I was getting more brave, and I didn't drink alcohol. I just didn't want to deal with that, myself. And then after my freshman year, I moved into a house with my sister, her boyfriend at the time, and then 2 friends. So that's a lot of people in one house that I had to deal with all the time. Thankfully, though, I had my own room, so if anything were to happen, I could just lock myself out, lock everyone out, turn on music, separate myself from the situation, which is a good technique to do to get away from things. Maybe it doesn't help you in the long run, but it was a way for me to get away from the situations and have my own time. Because people are still going to drink, people are still going to get sick, and I had to accept that there's something, at least I could do something to forget about that situation. And I had all these friends that were always helping me out and looking out for me, so that was always good. And then after that, I moved into a smaller apartment with just my sister, her boyfriend at the time, and then another friend. Smaller, more closed doors, so if anything were to happen, I could probably hear it. But thankfully, I'd always listen to music, or most of the time I was just not in the house enough to really think about those situations. So I learned not to rely on those things and to always stick in those environments, go out and do things. Don't let fear keep you from doing things. I did have a time, though, I think it was junior year, no, it was sophomore year when I was in that house. I was on a field trip. No, I was on a conference with my club. We were out camping for a couple days. And my roommate, unfortunately, wasn't doing very well. And she told me that she was not feeling well at all. And she knew my phobia. She knew exactly what her telling me meant to me. And I just told her, unfortunately, that she had to find her own ride back home. She can't be in my car. And I hope she didn't take that mean or offensively, because I was doing it not only for her best interest, but for me, because I was the driver in that car. And for me to be in constant fear driving back for 4 or 5 hours thinking that someone's going to get sick, that's basically, it's just as bad as driving drunk or driving sleepy. If your mind is not focused on the road, you should not be driving. And that's what happens when I have that environment in my car. I get nervous. I start to not think very carefully about my actions, and that's not good when you're driving. So I told her that she had to find a ride home, even though we lived at the same house. It was just, it was all about safety. And I know I need to work on my phobia so that I can't just kick people out of my car. Now, if we're on a road trip, I can't just kick people out in the middle of the road and say, sorry, you gotta find your own ride, because I can't drive. So that's something I realized I have to work on, and I still need to work on that, because there's sooner examples. So luckily in college, I didn't have to deal with it that often. Once I started going to parties, I knew my limits, that I can only stay for a little bit longer, and I couldn't stay till the end of the party, because that's when everyone starts to get sick. So I would leave definitely early, a little bit. I had to stay for a couple hours. And then there's been times where I had to use the bathroom, but a friend was sick in the bathroom. Always one of my roommates, Jesus. And then I'd be outside, I have to pee. So one time, there's this big party at one of our friends' house after a banquet, and one of my friends got sick and was stuck in the bathroom, and I had to pee really bad. So I got in my car and drove to the nearest convenience store. But unfortunately, that convenience store didn't have a bathroom. I was like, what? What is this? It was really late at night, so all the the shops and centers were closed. So I just drove back to my apartment and then used the bathroom. I peed. And then I came back to the party, but by the time I went back, I think the party was already dying down anyway. But, yeah, I mean, I will admit at those times I am a little paranoid. I am scared. I start to freak out, especially if people get sick. But I always had I don't have it on right now, but I had my peppermint necklace. I would always sniff the peppermint and do my breathing exercises. And then if I can, I get myself away from that situation. And then when I started drinking, I always tried to make sure I would never be in those situations, though I did once. So after college, it was pretty much fine, you know. I moved in with my boyfriend, which already answered one of my questions, if I can handle living with somebody or being in a relationship with somebody. But am I always going to be in constant fear that they're going to get sick? Surprisingly not. I mean, thankfully he's not the type of person that gets sick. I mean, I probably wouldn't be with those type of people anyway. But we've been living together for 3.5 years now, and it's been great. I don't have to think about that all the time. And if he does feel sick, if he gets drunk, he knows to sleep in the living room. And that's just unfortunate, but it helps me out. It helps him out so he can make a quick way to the bathroom if he needs it. So he's understandable. He's willing to work with me to my limits, and I really appreciate him for that. The one time we went to a party, it was a New Year's party, and I don't know what happens, but I didn't feel like I drank a lot, but maybe it was just a mixture of the alcohol or what, but I got I just got super sick, and that was the first time I ever got sick getting drunk, and that's probably why I don't drink as much anymore. I don't drink really at all, anything. But yeah, I got sick, and I was stuck in the bathroom, and then I don't remember getting home, but I remember going home, and then I was just in the bathroom for hours again, because I was afraid I was going to get sick, and I didn't want to clean it up later. I don't want to have to deal with it. Thankfully, I was kind of like, I don't know, in and out of the situation, so my mind wasn't directly on it being sick. I wasn't panicking the whole time, thankfully. But I have been in situations where my friends have been like that, and I've been panicking the whole time. There was a situation last year where we went to a bar crawl. We were having a good time. This was like the first real time I've ever gone to a crawl, in, longer than like an hour. I was like, have fun. We were all dancing, having a good time. I was a sober person, so it's like the designated driver. But so we're dancing, having a good time, and then we go out and get some burgers. And the whole time my friend is just like not doing very well. He's just laying down and, not dealing with the situation. But we're there for like an hour, and I figure that, it's like 1 or 2 o'clock, and I'm like, I think it's time to go home. He seems fine. I ask him if he's okay. He's like, yeah. And once we leave the restaurant, he starts like wobbling and leaning up against the telephone pole, and he looks down, and I'm like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, okay, and I'm like nervous the whole time. I'm like I really need him to find another ride. I can't drive him. I'm nervous. But as we're walking down the street to my car, he seems more aware, like he's texting, like he seems fine, like he was slowing down, but then he caught up to us and he was like, okay. So we get to my car, and I tell him, the rule in my car, everyone knows, is not to do the forbidden in my car. And I mean, I'm saying it in the past tense, because I know I should be saying, like, throw up. I need to use those words more often. But the time is like, don't do the forbidden in my car. So I asked him, like, are you okay? He's like, I'm fine. I was like, you're not going to do the forbidden, right? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, you sure? He's like, I'm positive. I'm like, okay. Like, we all know the rules in my car. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And I almost, because I always keep the bag, the barf bag in my car, just in case. I have plenty. I almost gave him back. But I was like, okay, I trust his judgment. He seems fine. If he says he's fine, he knows his body better than I do. I can't just keep judging people by their appearances. I have to trust what they say. I'm like, okay. I'm like, fine. So I'm driving home. Luckily, the ride's like 10 minutes away. And we exit off the freeway to the exit of where our apartment is. And he's going to go lay down at my apartment until he's fine enough to drive home, because he had his car parked there. So we're literally, if I got all the green lights, we'd be there in 2 minutes. And then I'm driving driving. I just get off the exit just before I hit the stop. Okay, so my video came cut out before I finished the story. So before I reached a stoplight, the next stoplight, which was just like not even like 50 feet away, I look behind me in the rear view mirror and I see him do this. I was like, ah! I start hyperventilating, and I hyperventilate because one, I'm scared and nervous, and I've never hyperventilated before, but that's what my reaction was. And two, I did it because I didn't hear anything right now. I didn't hear what was happening. I didn't hear him doing it, and I didn't want to hear it. So the louder I hyperventilated, the less I could hear. So I was, and I see a turn lane into the next shopping center. So I quickly just turned into the turn lane, and thankfully no one was there. But I was like, okay, I'm just gonna park here. I'm just gonna park here. But I knew I couldn't park there because I was just in the middle of a turn lane. Like, I can't just park there. So I'm like, okay. So I keep going into the shopping center, and there's a Starbucks right here. So I park right in front of the Starbucks, and I get out. I leave. I go to the edge of the parking lot as far away as I can from my car, and I'm just hyperventilating. I'm trying to calm down. I am freaking out. I'm scared. I am just shivering in fear. My boyfriend, thankfully, he gets out and checks on his friends, helps the situation. He comes over and walks to me. He's like, are you okay? I was just like, I'm fine. I'm fine. Freaking out. And he goes and helps his friend. Luckily, I have some cleaning supplies and some towels in the back, and they're kind of helping the situation as much as they can. Because I'm freaking out. And that's the problem with my phobia. Sometimes my sister used to say, she used to, as forgiving as she was with my phobia, she used to say that sometimes when people are sick, they end up giving more attention to me than the person who really deserves it, who's sick at the time, because I'm freaking out the most. And that's not fair to them. And I know it's not. I know it's not that fair, but I'm freaking out, and sometimes people can't help to check on me, and I'm sorry that if the people who are sick aren't getting the attention that they actually deserve. But he was helping them out. Apparently our friend was really apologetic, saying, I'm sorry. He knows that I hate that, and he felt really bad to make me scared. But they kind of dabble the situation, and I freak out, and my boyfriend comes back and says, well, what do you want to do? And I say, I'm not getting back in that car. I can't handle being in a close proximity next to it where I have to smell it and see it and be with it. I can't do that. I'm going to walk home. He's just like, you're not going to walk home. I was like, I'm going to walk home. It's not even like a mile away, I think. Like, it was not that far. I was like, I'm going to walk home. You're going to take him home, and we're just going to deal with it from there. Like, I can't. And so he gets in the car and he drives him home, and unfortunately, I don't think he was in the best condition to drive. Like, he was aware enough, like, he wasn't that drunk anymore. Like, he was aware of his situation, his surroundings. He wasn't like loopy or loppy, but I don't think in the best situation he would have been the best driver. And I know I risked everything for him to do that, and it's not fair. I just couldn't get back in the car. I couldn't be in that situation. I couldn't do that to myself, and I'm sorry that I made him do that. I'm sorry that I always have him end up doing this to people where I am such an inconvenience that I can't do what I'm supposed to do. And I'm sorry. So I walked home, which was probably one of the nicest walks I've ever been on. It was calm. The night was perfect. It was clear. It was beautiful. I was just playing games on my phone, and it was just nice. I got to calm down, help me breathe, get away from the situation. That's really all I needed, and it was just fine. It was a beautiful walk down the street. It wasn't even that far. When I got home, our friend took a nap in his car, and then when he was fine later on, he drove home. And then my wonderful boyfriend, as great as he is, he got the car washed, and the next day, like, he washed it himself. Like, he vacuumed it, he shampooed it. I was just very thankful that I have him, and You know, that brought up another thing, that I never thought that I could be in a place where I can share my life with somebody and not be in constant fear that they're going to get sick. Well, surprisingly, that's not how it is. I've lived with my boyfriend for about 3.5 years now, and it's been nothing but great. And I don't have to think about that with him. I mean, thankfully, he's not the type of person that gets sick all the time. And there's always, like, I'm worried that he's going to throw up. But no, he's good. I don't have to be in constant fear, which is great. And if he does feel sick, like if he gets drunk or he's not feeling very well, he just sleeps on the couch. I guess he knows that's the rule, just to go sleep on the couch. And I know I feel bad always kicking him out, but he understands my limitations and he wants to help me get better. So even if it means he has to sleep on the couch every once in a while, like, he understands, and I really appreciate him for that. Now, if only I could just get to a better place where I know that if I'm on a road trip, I can't just kick my kid out or walk home because someone's going to get sick. I don't want to be in a point where I have to close myself off in a room and put on music, get away from this whole situation in my house. Like, I know I'm doing a lot better, but I'm not better yet. I don't know if I ever will be, but that's my hope. I'm hoping that with a little bit of maybe therapy or doing these exercises that I'll come to a better place. But yeah, any encouraging thoughts, any advice, I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you just keep rooting for me that it's going to get better. I hope so too. Now I have my doubts, and you gotta have your doubts because, I mean, I've lived with this my whole life. I can't imagine living in a different way, but I want to. I really want to. So yeah, keep watching my videos, and as always, I appreciate you watching them. Have a good day.